Imagine floating on emerald waters, gazing at the world's most exquisite architecture. Yes, we're talking about the floating city of Venice. This enchanting city, with its labyrinth of canals and grand palazzos, is steeped in history and overflowing with charm. From the romantic gondola rides to the awe-inspiring St. Mark's Basilica, Venice promises an experience like no other. But you must be thinking, such a celestial experience must cost an arm and a leg. Well, stick around and we might just surprise you. So, you've decided to take the plunge and visit Venice. Let's talk accommodation. When it comes to resting your head in this city of canals, there's a smorgasbord of options to suit every traveler's pocket. If you're looking to live it up in the lap of luxury, 5-star hotels like the Gritti Palace or the Danieli will set you back a pretty penny. Expect to pay anywhere from 300 to 1,000 euros per night. But hey, who wouldn't want to wake up to a view of the Grand Canal? For those with more modest means, there are plenty of 3- and 4-star hotels that offer comfortable stays without breaking the bank. Prices range from 100 to 200 euros per night, and many of these establishments are centrally located, giving you easy access to Venice's most iconic sites. But what if you're on a shoestring budget? Fear not, Venice has got you covered. Hostels like the Generator Venice and the Combo Venezia provide dormitory-style rooms for as low as 20 to 30 euros per night. And let's not forget about Airbnb. With a little bit of digging, you can find private rooms or even entire apartments for less than 50 euros per night. So you see, there's something for everyone. But here's a tip. Accommodation in Venice can get quite pricey, especially during peak tourist season. To save some euros, consider visiting during the off-peak months of November to February, excluding the carnival period. Not only will you get cheaper rates, but you'll also avoid the tourist throngs. And remember, while it might be tempting to save a few bucks by staying on the mainland, the magic of Venice truly comes alive when you're in the heart of the city. So, choose your accommodation wisely. Look for places in the San Marco or Dorsoduro districts. They're central, they're beautiful, and they're packed with Venetian charm. So, whether you're a king or a pauper, there's a place for you in Venice. Just remember, location is key. Now, what's a trip to Venice without indulging in some heavenly Italian cuisine? Let's dive into the gastronomic adventure that awaits you in this city of love and waterways. For breakfast, the typical Italian style is a cappuccino and a croissant, or as they say in Venice, un cornetto. You'll find this classic combo in almost every cafe, and it'll cost you around 7 to 8 euros. Now that's a morning wake-up call that your taste buds will thank you for. Moving on to lunch, a typical Venetian meal will set you back about 15 euros. But here's a tip. Opt for the menu del giorno, or the pranzo della casa, the daily special or house lunch. These are usually hearty, homemade meals that offer a taste of authentic Italian cuisine without breaking the bank. As the sun sets and the city lights begin to twinkle, it's time for dinner. A full-course meal at a mid-range restaurant may cost about 30 euros. But remember, Venice is a city of islands and lagoons, so seafood is a must-try. And if you're lucky, you might just stumble upon a trattoria offering a seafood platter for 2 at a steal. Now let me share a little anecdote. On my first visit to Venice, I was enticed by the bustling crowd and charming decor of a restaurant in Piazza San Marco. Imagine my surprise when the bill arrived and my simple pasta dish cost me a whopping 50 euros. Lesson learned. Avoid the tourist traps, especially those in popular squares. Snacks are, of course, another important part of the culinary journey. Gelato, tramezzini sandwiches, and aperitivo snacks are all affordable options that range from 3 to 7 euros. And let's not forget the Venetian spritz, a refreshing cocktail that's a must-try when in Venice. So if you're not too keen on trading your wallet for a plate of spaghetti, remember these tips. The gastronomic adventure in Venice can be as affordable as it is delicious. After all, the taste of Italy is something everyone should savor, regardless of their budget. Now let's get to the heart of Venice, the gondolas. This quintessential Venetian experience is as timeless as the city itself. Gondolas, with their sleek design and the iconic striped shirt gondoliers, are the epitome of Venetian charm. They offer a unique perspective of the city, allowing you to see Venice from its most famous vantage point, the water. But how much does a gondola ride cost? Well, it's not exactly a penny ride. But it doesn't have to break the bank either. The official rate for a standard gondola ride of about 40 minutes is around €80. Yes, that's right, €80. But before you gasp in shock, let me share a secret. Timing is everything. If you fancy a gondola ride under the moonlight, be ready to shell out €100. That's the official rate for a nighttime ride. But if you're flexible with your schedule and willing to ride during the day, you can save a good €20. Moreover, split the cost with a group of friends. Each gondola can accommodate up to 6 people, so if you're traveling in a group, the cost per person can be significantly less. And here's another tip. Avoid the busiest areas like the Grand Canal or the area around Piazza San Marco. Instead, opt for the quieter, less crowded canals. The ride will be more peaceful, and the gondoliers might be more open to a little friendly negotiation. Also, remember that tipping is not obligatory. But if your gondolier serenades you with a beautiful Italian aria or shares fascinating stories about Venice's history, a tip would be a nice gesture of appreciation. So remember, a gondola ride doesn't have to cost a fortune. It just requires a bit of savvy planning. And with these tips in your pocket, you're well on your way to enjoying a memorable Venetian voyage without sinking your budget. Ready to feast your eyes on some of the world's most stunning architecture? Venice's sightseeing opportunities are as rich and varied as the city's history. Let's talk about the cost of visiting these popular tourist attractions. The Doge's Palace, a symbol of the city's past power and glory, has an entrance fee of around €18. But listen up, the secret to saving here is to buy a museum pass for €24, which gives you access to not just the Doge's Palace, but also the Correr Museum, the Archaeological Museum, and the monumental rooms of the Biblioteca Nazionale Marciana. Next stop, the bell tower of St. Mark's Basilica. For just €8, you can take an elevator ride up to a breathtaking panoramic view of Venice. If you're an early bird, aim to get there first thing in the morning to avoid the long lines. Now, who can resist the charm of the Rialto Bridge and its surrounding market? Absolutely no one. The good news? It's free. Just make sure you've got some extra euros for a gelato or a souvenir from the market. Let's not forget about the numerous art galleries scattered throughout Venice. The Peggy Guggenheim collection, for instance, costs €15 for adults, but again, there are ways to save. If you're a student or a senior, make sure to ask for discounted rates. Venturing a little off the beaten path can also lead to some amazing and cost-effective discoveries. Take a vaporetto to the colourful island of Burano, known for its lace-making tradition. It's a photographer's paradise, and the ride will only set you back about €7. So as you can see, sightseeing in Venice can be tailored to suit any budget. With a little planning and some savvy decision-making, you can experience the city's rich history and culture without breaking the bank. Remember, experiencing Venice's splendors doesn't have to drain your bank account. All right, let's crunch the numbers and see what a week in Venice really costs. First, let's talk about the stay. A week in a decent hotel in Venice can set you back around $700 to $1,000. But let's not forget, we are budget travelers. We thrive on the thrill of a good bargain. So, leaning towards the lower end, we'll say $700. Next up, the gastronomic adventure. Let's face it, who can resist the allure of Italian cuisine? A week of indulging in Venetian delicacies will cost around $200. It's a small price to pay for the joy of savoring a real Italian pizza, right? Moving on to the Venetian voyage. Traveling around Venice on a vaporetto or water bus is a unique experience. Expect to shell out around $70 for a week's pass. Not bad for a city where the streets are made of water. Then there's the sightseeing spree. The cost can vary greatly depending on your interests, but let's put aside another $100 for visiting museums, galleries, and landmarks. Now let's total it up. That's $700 for the stay, $200 for food, $70 for transport, and $100 for sightseeing. That's a grand total of $1,070 for a week in Venice. A bit steep, you say? Well, remember, we are not including the priceless experience of floating down a Venetian canal at sunset. So, there you have it. A trip to Venice might not require you to sell your soul after all.